Oh man, well we did it again. We just started talking without introducing the show.
Did you get it?
Got it.
But keep fighting, and then Dave was his arms like, yes, figured it out. Oh my gosh!
Excellent. All right,
I'm telling you, professional over here.
Right,
We are all
so-
professionals. We got this.
we are now recording apparently.
Excellent. So hey,
Okay.
are you guys drinking anything tonight? What are you having?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I got Jeremiah weed right now.
Yeah, and I got my usual Canadian whiskey and amaretto.
Nice.
What about you, sir?
I am having
Cow's tongue.
that's what I do. Every summer, I always pick like a cocktail of summer.
Okay.
It started a few years ago. I wanted to master the mojito. We have this on the way out to my studio. We have this massive patch of mint, and it's just voluminous. I mean, I could literally supply the city of Joplin with the amount of mint I have.
Wow.
But I wanted to make mojitos because I wanted to master them. I'd had, you go out, you have good ones, you have bad ones.
Right.
I wanted to make a damn good one, and so it kind of started with that, and then the next year I did wanted to keep the mint thing going, so I did an Earl Grey tea mint julep.
Ooh.
Okay.
Yeah. So so every year I have a drink of the summer, and this one I've really become fascinated with Japanese whiskeys, and because they are doing some amazing stuff.
Yeah, I love hibiki.
Yes, I've been doing my current favorite one right now is Nika.
Okay.
They do a gin, they do a whiskey, but they're malts, so they almost push towards a scotch.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they're just, I don't know, delicious. But so I've been doing highballs this summer, which a highball is an incredibly easy drink. In fact, that's secretly the next Comics and Cocktails recipe that I'm doing.
Guys.
And part of the reason I'm doing it is because it's so easy. It's literally just a couple steps.
Yeah.
You toss some nice cubes of ice in a highball glass.
Mm-hmm.
You add an ounce to an ounce and a half of good Japanese whiskey, and you top it with club soda water of some sort. And then you put a strip of lemon in there, and it's a little lemony. It's that good Japanese whiskey. They're incredibly refreshing. There's no sweet to it at all beyond the whiskey itself, which is sometimes a little sweet. But it's just, I don't know, man. I'm loving them. And yeah.
Nice.
So that's what I'm enjoying.
Oh, that's what you got now. A Japanese highball. Okay.
Yeah. That was the longest winded
Oh,
way around.
it sounded beautiful though.
Yeah.
Well, quick question, real fast. Have you already watched The Boys
Oh boy.
on Amazon?
I have not actually.
Oh my!
Okay,
I would
so
put
we're
my
on the
money
same
on that.
page
Oh
then.
my
Good.
gosh! Okay, all right, fair enough.
I'm excited to watch it. If
Yes,
I'm
sir.
perfectly honest with you,
Yes, please do.
I am right in the middle of a rewatch of Deadwood.
Hey.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I promised myself that that I wouldn't watch the movie
Okay.
until I did the full
Till-
rewatch.
Nice.
Okay,
Good job.
yeah.
Good job, sir.
Yeah. And I mean, it's not. I mean, what is like 30, 24 episods or something like that. It's not a lot of TV.
Yeah.
It's not a ton of TV. It's easy enough. But I have to finish that. And because I've been so insanely busy with work and everything, I knew that the Boys show was out. I was looking forward to seeing it, but I didn't know it was an Amazon show. So I was like, oh, wait a minute. this is easy for me to get. All I have to do is just turn on my Xbox. So
Right.
yeah.
Yeah, I really liked it. I enjoyed it. I've been telling everybody to peep it out and stuff
Yeah.
like that. So
Yeah.
it's because it's rare when I binge and watch the whole thing, but like in one weekend, I clean the thing up pretty quick. But
That's not a very glowing review if you only watch it in a weekend.
it's only like 8 episodes. Yeah, I know.
Look, get back to me on the show that you watch in one night, and then we'll.
Oh,
Yeah. Yeah.
nice.
Oh man.
It's like that.
Go on.
It was like that first season of Stranger Things.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow. Yeah.
You know, I sat down and I'm like, I'm just gonna watch one episode. It
Oh,
was like,
isn't that how it starts? Yes.
Yeah, yeah. 8 hours later, you're like,
Yep.
Dude, you're like, oh,
Exactly.
okay.
Yeah.
you haven't got enough to pee. You haven't done anything at all.
Yeah.
You're a mess.
Yeah. Like I've missed lunch and dinner. What happened here? Yeah.
Exactly.
So what did you you've seen season 3?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah. What'd you think?
I really loved it. I thought that it really played into the horror a lot in this season.
Yeah.
Yep.
It went scary and dark.
Yeah.
Without getting spoilery for your listeners, I loved the way that they built things throughout the show and cemented relationships.
Yeah.
I like that it's a show that is willing to go to really intense emotional places. Nobody's safe. I like that. There's a lot of aspects.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I wasn't too happy with the second season of Stranger Things, but the third one, I think that might have been my favorite season out of the 3, dude. It was a nice ride.
I think that. No, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say I really enjoyed season 3. Yeah.
I felt like for me season 3 was. I think season 2 felt very transitionary. Like they had. They set up everything in that first season. It was strong, and then they took that second season and they were like, okay, we want to get to this thing in season 3, but we have to move all these characters into very, very different places in their lives.
Yep.
Yeah.
Good
Yeah.
point.
Yeah. Well, I guess it was kind of a second act, but nobody knew for sure if it really was the second act out of 3. So.
Right. Absolutely.
I just really like the nostalgia behind it and
the
characters. Oh
Yeah.
my gosh.
I loved
enjoyed
the song in the last episode.
Oh yes.
Yes.
Never.
That was hilarious.
Yeah.
I was singing with him. I was like,
Yeah.
Oh man, those bring back memories. That was so good.
Yep.
It was so well
Yep.
done.
Oh man. Well, we did it again. We just started talking without introducing the show. So I'm just gonna use all that. Like it's been a recording. I'm just gonna use everything we've been talking about. If that's cool.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Cool. So let's introduce the show proper. Hey everybody, welcome to Muddled Dice. I'm Dan. This is Tyke. It is August 4th, 2019, and Jeremy Haun is back on the show again to talk about some new projects and some new developments. We've already been talking about. Yeah, how you doing, man?
I'm having a great evening so far. It's Sunday. Easy.
Good.
Yeah.
It is. It is Sunday. It's an easy Sunday. Yeah. Cool. So let's talk about your Comics and Cocktails project.
Yeah, it's I always do these things where I'm like, hey, I'm going to do a fun side hustle kind of thing. Just like I've been wanting to do a Patreon for a long time. I support a lot of creators via Patreon. Sometimes it shifts. Sometimes people, they'll come in, they'll start them, and then they get tired of doing it. They have to move on. It changes or whatever. But I love the idea that people can directly make things that go straight to their audience.
Right.
Okay.
I can make something that is done without the need for printing, for or anything like that. And I mean, for the most part, also the money all goes directly to me. There's no middleman taking out half of the money or whatever it is. And I thought about it for a long time. I was like, oh, I want to do one of those, but then I needed something that I could do that was going to be consistent, and something that I wasn't going to sit there and go, hey, I'm going to start a series. Like one of the ideas that I had was I wanted to show process for the comic stuff that I do, and then every week I was going to do a drawing of characters from Twin Peaks. Because I love that show, and it's just a lot of fun. So I started working on that, and the new show had been announced. It was getting ready to come out, and I had 3 deadlines for stuff hitting me at the same time every week. There. So the show came and went, and I just didn't. I mean, I did like 3 of them, and I just was like, well, I've got to do this other thing.
Yeah.
And it was just. And then I was like, well, maybe I'll do mini comics. Maybe I'll do like just short stories and release, bank them and then release, a page a week or something like that. And I was like, that's pretty cool. I can do that.
Right.
So, but then I was like, that means that I have to do everything, because for me to feel comfortable with it, I either had to do it as a black and white comic or I had to color it myself. And that's a lot of work.
Yeah.
And then you think about, I draw on average 4 to 5 pages a week of comics. I write, I write about a comic every 2 weeks. Right. It's a lot of work that I'm doing.
Yeah.
Adding for some reason, just adding another page, and you feel that obligation. You feel, you these people. Like I said, Patreon's a relationship. It's about mainlining directly to people that I love the interaction. I message everybody that pops on. I'm getting ready to offer things where like people can actually pick. I'm going to make a cocktail this week. What alcohol are we going to use? We can go whiskey. Cool. We're going to go. Yeah, everybody gets to vote. It's a very, very personal interaction.
Yeah.
And I don't want to disappoint. I don't want to get on there and be like, "Hey guys, sorry, I know I've been gone for 3 months." That's just not. I don't like doing that.
I don't like Jeremy Haun. I do what I
want. As much as I love the idea of being that arrogant, I would feel such
right. Love it.
I wish. I mean, being just worrying over being a dick constantly aside. Right. I just. I would feel such guilt. I feel guilty about everything. I'm always like, oh,
right.
I'm late. You want to
be humble. Yeah, exactly.
Right. Absolutely. So, but I started this thing because I have friends and family that consistently come over. I make cocktails for them. I found myself getting into situations where I was, taking classic spins on cocktails and messing with them and, doing my version. I don't know if they're better, but always, my versions of them. And, people would come over and they'd be like, oh, I want that because you make it that way. I was making my own bitters. I was, starting to mess with just all sorts of processes along the way. We were having, tiki parties where I would make these really complex tiki drinks for friends. It's been crazy. And I was like, it would be really fun to kind of merge my love of comics and making a good drink.
Yep. 2 major things I'm passionate about. Yep.
Oh, absolutely. Well, and look, we all have different levels of understanding about anything, whatever it is. I love buying books about the cocktail making process. Yeah. And there's all different types out there, whether you're watching YouTube channels or online things or actual cocktail making books. There's like stuff that's like, you get to see the overhead view. Some of these, you see beautiful illustration. Some is just like a really good photograph and a really great explanation or whatever. But I've never really seen anybody approach it quite this way. And I was like, well, I'm going to do these like overhead view, looking down at my hands, POV kind of shot of making the drink. And each step, I'm going to show you, like, well, this is, and it's always my take on it. So,
okay,
I might be like, well, this is the classic old fashioned, but these are the things that I've kind of added that I feel are important.
Yeah.
And I'm even going to get into stuff as I go with like, these are more complex, there's a thing I do called clarified milk punch, which is actually an incredibly classic recipe. It's been around. There's a famous Ben Franklin recipe that really gets used a lot, and that process you literally do. It's a punch, so you make a lot of it when you do it. Okay. But like you're pouring, like big pitchers of stuff into other stuff, and you actually heat milk and then pour whole milk into this lemon and alcohol base, rum and Iraq, into this, and it curdles the milk, and then you use that to strain out. And it does this whole weird thing, and it sounds absolutely disgusting.
That's what I'm saying.
Look,
my face, I was just like, oh my gosh, okay, hold on. Go ahead.
No, it sounds absolutely disgusting. But like, when after you strain it out, after you do this thing, you end up with this crystal clear. It's got a color to it. It's kind of a yellowy kind of color, but or kind of an amber kind of color. But like, it's not cloudy at all. It's so clear, and it's citrusy, and it's light and delicious, and not like I almost am hesitant to tell people that the term milk punch, because they're like, is it good?
Yeah. That's sounds odd.
Yeah. I mean, I was telling my brother about it. He's like, it makes me burp just thinking.
Yeah, it's just
no.
A little.
Yeah. None of that's in there, but I want to show that's a longer form process, and so I want to be able to do these things, and I figured out that like, if I go in and I say, hey, I'm going to release one of these bi-weekly, I'm going to do it the whole thing myself. I'm going to digital. I'd been looking for a reason to shift over a little bit to some of the digital process. Mm-hmm. I've got a lot of friends in the industry that Mike Norton was one of the earliest adopters of really moving to a digital process. Of the people that I knew, and Kevin, my buddy Kevin Mellon, who works on Archer now. We would always talk about it. He's like carrying around his iPad Pro and doing amazing art on it. Yeah. And I was just like, I need to do it. He was like, eventually you just gotta like actually like pick a project and just force yourself to work on that.
Right. Yeah.
Otherwise you're never gonna do it. And and I think that I also felt like this, there's a little bit of a pressure on creatives that like you're not supposed to use. They're like, did you do that for real or did you do it on the computer?
Yeah.
And then, yeah.
It's kind of like cheating or something like that. Yeah.
Right. And then you throw your drink on that person because they asked
exactly. Good job, sir.
Yeah. Like, well, no, I mean, like it's not like I typed in the command.
Yeah. Right.
Draw hand. Yeah. That's
little
straight line.
What was the phrase where we worked at the little magic paintbrush or something?
Oh yeah, worked. Yeah. Like
yeah.
Just use that little magic paintbrush that makes everything work.
Yeah,
it doesn't work like that. Yeah.
No, sir.
Yeah. No. It's just as much drawing, and it's actually. Mm-hmm. I mean, there are things that are really interesting. Like I was messing with something the other day, and I was like, I need a texture here. And I was like, well, I know that if I was going to do it, I would go into my kitchen, my studio kitchen. I'd lay some paper on the floor. I'd get some ink and a toothbrush, and I'd flick ink all over the place, and it would, that'd be so cool. It looked great. and I did it on this cover, and I was like, I just needed to add a little bit, and so I was like, that's a paintbrush that says that it's ink splatter, and then I sat there and I adjusted it a little bit, and I got the kind of the consistency that I wanted and everything. And then I tapped the page like 5 times. Tapped the screen 5 times. And it was on there.
And it's done. Yep.
I didn't have to clean my hands.
Yeah.
I'd have to clean the wall where I actually shot ink all over the place.
Yeah.
Yep.
It was beautiful. So I love the process. I love the idea that I can go in using all of Comics and Cocktails is drawn using Procreate on the iPad Pro.
Yep.
Okay.
And I pencil it in there, I ink it, I color it. It's a very simplified process and a simplified palette, but I'm becoming a better artist for doing this, just because it's something. Yeah,
Yep.
it's.
Have you messed around with the perspective tool inside of Procreate yet?
A little bit. I've actually messed around with the perspective tool more in Clip Studio Paint.
Clip Studio? Yeah, using the rulers and shit. Yeah, I got you.
Yeah.
I wasn't amazed with that stuff too.
Well, they're fascinating. I mean, and like.
But I get it. You feel like, oh man, is this kind of like cheating, or it's kind of easy, but I like this. But it helps the productivity of it. Like you just skyrocket, and like your work just gets so much cleaner and faster. You know what I'm saying?
So yeah. Well, screw the idea of that you're cheating.
Exactly, dude.
So do you remember the days when you would tape rulers together?
Oh yeah.
Across the room to find your vanishing point off of a page.
Yes. Yeah.
Perspective. I have taped so many rulers together. I had I'm gonna do this crazy thing over here, and you'd spend as long setting that stuff up as anything else, and it's you can literally put the point here and the point here and the point here. You're like, okay, well, I'm gonna kind of do this 3-point perspective. I'm gonna
3-point.
You start doing great stuff, and you don't have to fight with it. It's not, there is a thing where you have to understand that the artist is the artist, and a tool is a tool.
Exactly. Yes. Preach that shit. Yes. Exactly.
That. Yeah. I know that, for me, one of the things that always kind of drove me insane was I would have to send thumbnails into my editors, right? Mm-hmm. So I would draw out a page, and just quick thumbnails. They're better. They're cartoony little guys moving around or whatever.
Yeah.
But you draw those at 5.5 by 8.5, and then you'd pencil them, and then you'd throw some ink on it to make it clear, because you'd pencil it so fast it's so scribbly.
Yep.
And then you'd scan it, and then you'd adjust everything, the size of everything and whatever, and then you'd email it to your editor, and then so that process though of those pages, you'd scan those in. You're talking about an hour, maybe 2 hours that you're going to spend scanning them in and cleaning it up and just all that stuff. And it kind of got to the point where I was like, I've got to be able to just get this stuff done faster. And now I do my thumbnails. I do them in Clip Studio Paint. Yep. I send them to my editor. They ask for an adjustment. They're like, hey, can you do this? I'm like, oh, that's a great idea, or oh, that's a terrible idea, but I'm gonna do it anyway. So but it's just moving. You can cut out the arm and move it around.
Yeah, it's rapid prototyping. It's but that's the thing too. At least for me, when I'm sketching, because now I just hopped into that whole iPad Pro and using Procreate, and I'm actually doing 4K video editing and stuff like that. But just the whole idea of sketching on glass, but with this pen, the Pencil 2, I didn't realize I wasn't believing what everybody else was saying, but it is just like if I was sketching on paper. Now, I would like to get the matte screen protector, to have like more like that Cintiq feel.
Yeah.
But I'll say this though, the more I keep sketching digitally, I love going back to just doing it traditionally too. It's just something kind of like fast, like oh okay, yeah, this is exactly how it feels. Like this is perfect. But then I love going back to just like I said before, like rapid prototyping too. So.
Well, and that's the thing. I mean, I think that people get scared. I think that they feel like you're never like, oh, I'm gonna start using the Procreate. And then I'm never gonna go back and do that again. That's not true.
Yeah, the thing that I get up for me is people get hung up too much. It's like you said before, it's a tool, and a lot of people are always ask like, oh, what brush is that? Or what settings are you using on that? Like, yo, just fucking use it, and just create from there.
Yeah,
right. Well,
I get it.
And it's I don't know. I feel like you've got to do what you do your way. Like there's no
exactly that.
There's no right or wrong.
Yep.
Ultimately, I think that traditionalists, people that they always, and it doesn't matter what it's in. Like I think that that we talk a lot about the secret shit, right?
Right.
You have creatives that say, well, this is how I do things, and it's not right or it's not wrong, but this is how I make things. Let me show you how
this is my process. Yeah,
right. And then you have people that don't want to talk about it. They don't want to tell you anything about it. They kind of make it weird consistently. You're like,
these are my brush settings. You can't use that. Can't copy.
Right. But like we have to make things the way that we do, and you have to understand that if it becomes gatekeepery whenever you say,
agreed.
Comics are only comics if you traditionally do them at this size using pen and ink and this because you know what I have seen young kids coming out right now that they have never used anything aside from fully drawing in Clip Studio Paint.
Yeah.
And that's just how they work.
Yep.
And you know what? It's beautiful, and for a while they were like, oh, but it looks kind of fake when you do it. Like, no, it doesn't. Not anymore.
Right?
Yeah.
If you mess with it long enough, it looks like whatever else. And I know people that are painting digitally using amazing brushes and techniques, and I'm like, I can't really quite tell, unless I just sit there and stare at it.
Right?
Yeah. Hey, listen, you said something earlier though, and I actually wanted to hit on this. You said the matte screen protector.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Have you seen the less expensive ones? The eye cares?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
So
I don't go for the big balling ones. I can't. I'm not on that level yet.
Yeah, no. So the eye cares ones that they have, it's that matte screen protector that they have, because there's I've got the paper
Oh, okay. Yeah. I've heard of
that
couple casts.
Yeah, but they're like $30, or something like that. 20, $30. It's expensive for a screen protector to go on your thing, but getting that eye cares, if any of your listeners are actually looking at getting, if they want that kind of matte paper finish, you go on Amazon, they're like $9.
Yep.
And you get two of them.
Yep, you get two of them for that price. Yes, sir. Yeah. Now I will say another thing, and I drew so much on the Cintiq that I need to do it now on the tablet. I don't know if you use a glove or not, but that seems to be helping out too. At least for when I'm trying to do my C and my S curves and just flow more with the elbow, because a lot of times when I'm sitting there drawing the heat, if I don't have that glove on, my hand doesn't flow as smoothly across the screen. I don't know if you get that problem or not, but like the glove or whatever, it's only a couple bucks, like $5 or something like that. So it's a good price.
I need to try that. I've seen a lot of people using it, and I've heard that it actually does help.
Yeah, highly recommend. If you find yourself behind the Pro or whatever behind the tablet for like hours on end, which I assume you're doing, worth a shot to at least try it out and see for sure.
Yeah, no, I need to do that. I am just old and forgetful, and I'm always like, oh yeah, like you do that thing where you're like, no, this is just part of the hard aspect of this. So one thing that's kind of become crazy is like, figuring out like you can zoom in as much as you do on the screen and everything.
Yeah, that's one thing that was tripping me out. And Procreate, like how it's not vector, but it's not really rasterized because it's still clean as I'm zooming in type of deal. I just don't ask questions. I just like have fun using it.
Right.
Like,
well, then you have to be careful though, because you don't want to zoom in so far and make
get
the
lost in the
pin
details.
So small.
Yeah. Oh, good point. Good point.
Yeah. The first I decided. I did a story for Heavy Metal recently, Heavy Metal magazine. Yeah. And
it's fucking awesome. Sorry.
Yeah. No, it's cool. It's
how could you not be big headed? Oh my god. I know. If that was me, I'm sorry. Continue. I'm sorry as I interrupt.
Oh no, I like when I got to do the project, I was like, I was incredibly intimidated because, I was like, wait a minute, I get to write and draw this, okay?
Yeah.
And then they okayed the project, and it was me doing like a massive send up to Richard Corbin.
Damn.
Okay.
Yeah.
Those old Den Saga stories.
Yeah. Yep.
I was like, well, I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna do kind of a thing with that somebody kind of getting pulled into another world and having to fight their way through. People because heavy metal people are naked and running around like crazy. But
sure, yeah.
How long did they give you? If you don't mind me asking, like, what was the time frame on that? This is okay. Sorry, this is why I like these podcasts, because I like to get into the head of the cast that are developing. Because I'm always asking myself, like, what were you going through mentally? Like, okay, I just got this awesome project. Are you like just right off the cuff? You know what you want to do, or is it more like, hey, you know what? I don't want to fuck this up. I want to make this as good as I can. Like, like what? I guess one, what was your time frame on it, and then two, like what was your like thought process as you was like getting ready to start?
I really love anthology kind of projects. I love short stories. I think they're very, very special and a unique skill set to try to learn. So when we talked about it, I knew it was going to be 10 pages.
Okay.
And they gave me the theme. It's for one of their band specials. So basically, like they gave you a heavy metal band, and then they give you a song inspired by that heavy metal band, a song from that band.
Okay.
And then you tell us, and you're not supposed to like the whole thing. I actually love this. Like you're not supposed to literally translate the song. You're supposed to do something that feels like your own story, sort of inspired by this thing, right?
Okay, that's cool.
Yeah, no, it's a lot of fun, and so I went in and I put the song on, and I was just laying there listening, and I kind of knew the direction I wanted to go. I wanted to do something that was a throwback to all of those, like I said, those 1970s, 1980s heavy metal magazines from when I was a kid. Those Richard Corbin, stories, so I just kind of, the idea came to me, and I was like, okay, this is what I'm going to do. So I pitched it to them, and then they liked it, so they ran it by the band. And they were like, all right, yeah, this is good, go with it. And so then I think kind of what you were getting at was the feeling of having that opportunity to do something that important and that big, because those heavy metal stories, the ones like there were stories from Mobius and like you would get, all of these amazing European creatives, and they would take these stories from their albums and they would bring them over and serialize them in the States for these heavy metal books. So it wasn't like a comics gig in the way that we deal with stuff now. Literally, people were getting to do stuff and like kind of make these perfect moments. You know, like, you it worked very, very differently. It wasn't a situation like we deal with now. So I think the hardest thing that I had to deal with was the pressure of making this as perfect as I could in an incredibly short period of time. I would have loved to, you know. In the end, you know, I had to make some sacrifices and really do some things that I wanted to have probably another week on the book. But I that wasn't possible. And so, a lot of times nowadays, the go date, the date that something is coming out is set long before they bring in creatives.
Yeah.
And they don't do it to disrespect us. They don't do it to try to make things difficult or make our lives hell. But God, it makes our lives hell.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. So I am proud of the story that I told. I will say that my longtime coloring partner Nick Filardi colored me on it, and he really came in, and just everything that he does, he brings 100%, and I for everything that I felt like I didn't get to do on my end, he's like, no, I'm gonna come in and I'm gonna do this crazy thing, and these weird colors and backgrounds, it's gonna feel really alien and fun, and
that's dope.
I'm proud of it.
At the end of the day, yeah, that's what you want, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I hope that that the fans of heavy metal fans, I hope that fans of the band, I hope that everybody looking at this enjoys it. That's ultimately why we make these things. We make them because we love them. We make them for ourselves, but then we also make them because we want to, we want to tell stories, and we want people out there to see what we do, and hopefully they like it. Yeah. So hopefully it works.
Do you have, I guess, a certain project that that you would like to do, but haven't gotten the word yet, or it's like, oh, it'd be nice if I could put my 2 cents on, I don't know, ... like the Avengers character design or something like that? Is there anything? Do you ever think about stuff like that? Any chance?
Yeah. I mean, I'm right now going through a bit of a transitional period with my work and kind of what I'm doing. We really haven't talked about it very much, but I'm probably in the next year going to be taking a short paused thing on my creator-owned work. We're finishing up The Beauty right now.
Right.
And that series, I've loved working on that series. I've had an absolute 31 issues is where we're ending.
Right.
28 28 just came out. We're going to take a bit of a break between 28 and those last 3 issues just to kind of look. Crayon books are hard. They're so hard.
I bet. Yeah. I can only imagine. Yeah.
And
go ahead.
Go ahead. Sorry.
I was going to say like to end it on your terms and stuff like that. That has to be a good feeling though, right? Like you don't have to feel pressure to egg this on. Or, like you got this good thing going to like, a good story has a good ending. You know what I mean? So that's gotta.
We hope it's a good ending. Jeez, yeah.
Yeah, right. Sorry.
Yeah. But I don't know. I'm really, it's hard. Like I said, it's hard. It's hard to make these things. It's hard to have them. I mean, I don't. And maybe this is a bit existential and grimdark to say, but like, I don't know that we're going to get many more truly long form create our own comics for a while.
Gotcha.
Really?
As,
Gotcha.
yeah. I mean, not just on the average. I mean, I think you're going to have people that can do those things because of their status in the industry.
Yeah.
Right.
You'll have the Brew Bakers and the Brian K. Vaughns and
Kirkman just ended his Walking Dead stuff too.
Yeah, but like Kirkman. I think
Yeah.
Kirkman can sit there because of the status in this industry,
Exactly.
and be like, hey, I'm going to do this experiment. I'm going to do a 100-issue comic, and it's going to be whatever it is, and he can do it, and I love. I mean, first of all, the set of balls on that guy, just doing doing what he wants to do the way he wants. I admire the hell out of that.
Right?
Yeah, ending books on his terms, starting books on his terms. Like it's brilliant. I wish more of us in the industry had the opportunity to tell things that way and do things that way. But I have nothing but love for him and a lot of the creators right now that are getting to do those things. But I don't know that the average creator is going to be able to do truly long form books in this system. I just don't know. Audiences are wanting, it seems, shorter form projects. Books, I respect that people read how they read projects. I'm never going to tell you wrong for reading books in the trade,
Right.
or whatever it is. But like, it's financially hard on creators. That is on us, and that trickles down, as it goes. It's like, we need to be paying a living wage to creatives to do stuff, and my crews on my books have sacrificed time and money, and I think we've all gone gray working on these books, in order to put these books out, and I have nothing but love for those people and for creators in general who really attempt to do a thing that's a long game process. But like eventually, you get to a point where you're making some money on single issues, and then you're not making money on issues.
Yeah.
And then trade sales sustain you, keep you going, but then you're waiting a long time to get money.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And you can only be so patient. And I think that I don't want to get into a writers be like this, artists be like this argument with people. But like, because look, I do both books, and I draw books.
Right.
Yeah.
But like, the financial burden that's placed on artists at times for having to draw books and just hope that money comes in is incredibly difficult.
It has to be.
Yeah. It's tough. You're waiting. Like sometimes you're like, all right, well, 6 months.
Yeah.
For instance, The Realm. I stepped in. I finished that first arc of the Beauty, and then we started developing The Realm. And we were when the first issue of The Realm came out. I had been working on that book for 13 months, and without, I think by the time that we got our first check for that book, it was 15 months. That's a long time.
Yeah.
When your significant other starts looking at you, going,
Yeah, like, hey,
hey, hey,
you're talented, but
yeah.
Got you.
You could manage a McDonald's really well.
Yeah.
he said nice.
Yeah.
That's a tricky thing. I didn't mean to go super dark.
No. Perfectly.
Actually, you mentioned earlier. You said like a lot of the what do they call it? the serials or the floppies aren't making much money now, and you're making more money on the trades. I remembered reading something a while back. Sean Murphy said he was going to come out with something, with a new project that was going to go like straight to trade paperback. Do you think like that's something you would consider for a future project, or like do you think that's the way the industry is going to go or should be going?
I mean, I do think that we probably are going to end up there. I think that it's just steadily leaning. I've had so many conversations across the board with various retailers and creatives and publishers. I think the market is. I don't think it's going to be as fast as worry it's going to be, and I think there's a really good chance that single issues will last longer than we think they will. I just think that like mainly a lot of what I'm saying is the long form independent single issues.
Okay.
That's the place that I really, I still personally love the idea of making comics available in the different formats, because you have people that love single issues.
Yeah.
I also think that like there's a, again, this is kind of a tough topic, but like the margins on this stuff are so narrow, right?
Yeah.
Like,
Okay.
like you get a $4 book, like by the time that a retailer gets that, they're going to make $2 on that book, maybe.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's not even dealing with their overhead of having the shop or whatever, but they're going to get $2 on that book.
Yeah.
Well, that's $2, and then, but that's still a huge, if they're saying, well, I'm going to support your book and I'm going to buy 20 copies of your book, right? Well, they have an outlay of $40, on that. They're that's not much money back for them.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, they might walk away with $1 of that, but they've got $40 worth, of your books sitting there that they're hoping to, then sell. It's very, very difficult then for these retailers to speculate on what can, what they're going to get and what they're not going to get. So while Sean Murphy, who is enough of a name and has a record with fans of producing stuff that sells really incredibly well, they shops know Sean Murphy's name. They're going to be like, well, okay, like hey, Sean's just released this trade paperback. It's a $17.99 for this trade paperback. It's 100 pages. Sean, we like Sean at the store, so we're gonna order deep on that. We're gonna do 20 of those.
Yeah. Right.
But then this new kid coming in, she's just out of college. This is her first thing. Something and it's a really cool idea and it looks cool. But at the
end of the day, it's a business. It's a business.
Right.
Yeah.
So, yeah. And so those retailers, I don't know that they can order deep on, so they're probably not going to take a chance on as many, those. Now, I think that we are really across, systemically right now, we're looking at how we're doing all this. We're looking at things and saying like, well, this ain't working anymore. We've got to change things. I would be very interested, I wish I had that crystal ball that I could shake and look 5 years into the future of comics to know, we're either going to figure some stuff out and do really well, or we're going to be some pretty scared boys and girls.
Right.
Yeah.
I got you.
Yeah. Do you think, excuse me, digital platforms like Comixology might have any impact on the way that's going?
I am really excited about digital platforms and what they're doing. I think that specifically, like I've got some friends doing some really exciting stuff for Comixology right now, and I think it just depends on the types of stories that you're, the way you're wanting to, how you're wanting like that. I don't know that it's like, when these digital platforms came out, I think it was a real gloom and doom thing. It was like, oh, this is going to kill content.
Yeah.
I don't think it affects it quite like that. I think that people are telling stories in a medium, and I think that that if you do it right, people who want to read comics digitally and find comics digitally do that way.
Yeah.
People that want to get their single issues do that. People that want to get their trades. I think I think it's communicating that this affects this like this. I had somebody that came up to me at a convention, and I like, we had a great conversation. They're like, I'm waiting for the Beauty hardcovers to come out before I read the series. And I appreciate the interest in my work, and I appreciate the support and the fandom, but and even the belief. I mean, that alone right there, but but like, I kind of had to explain. I'm like, well, the trick of that really is, and while I love that you want to read hardcovers, and that's what it is. If you don't have good single issue sales on stuff, you don't get trades.
Yeah.
And if you don't have good trade sales, you sure as shit don't get hardcovers.
Right.
That's the truth. Yeah.
It's almost a catch-22.
Right. Because like what, if you're doing hardcovers, and I've seen books that I love that they were like, hey, we're gonna do a hardcover, and then they did pre-sales on it, and they're like, we're not doing a hardcover.
Right.
And because they didn't, you have to make a certain number of those sell, if we have some big media event thing happen with the Beauty or one of these projects, sure, we'll do a hardcover because we will sell those all day long. And
right.
And we'll stop eating ramen. I really love ramen. I'll probably never stop eating ramen. But But you know what? We'll put that good pork on there.
The good,
that good.
Yeah. I'll get some crispy duck to put on there, as opposed to just the little sprinkle packet.
Yeah.
Throw some more bacon fat, and you're good.
Some duck fat ramen.
Perfect. Good.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I will say, for me, I know, because I like this thing. I'm a single issue comic type of guy.
Same.
But I do like the convenience of it too. Like when I use that Hoopla app or whatever, the one that's free with the Prince William library and whatnot. I'm like, I just love the convenience. Like while wifey's shopping, doing whatever, I'm like, you know what? I just want to read a little bit. So I love the convenience of just having it right on my phone. Yeah. And able to just continue my stories.
And I was thinking too, because you were saying earlier, Jeremy, about how like as the industry seems to move towards leaning on trade paperbacks, it might be shops will be less inclined to take a chance on new and indie writers, because like, okay, are we gonna buy like 20 books for $18 each, or 20 single issues for $4 each? Do you think digital platforms are gonna kind of democratize and make it easier for newbies and indies to break into the scene?
I certainly hope so. I think that we need, we need more voices. We need more new creators. I want to see all of the, I want to see creators of different worlds being able to tell their stories. I want to see all of the genders, all the races. Like I want, as an old white guy,
what?
I want to see what that young girl growing up in Atlanta, has to say. I want to see a Korean kid that grew up in Seoul and loves comic books has to say.
You want to see that passion. I got you.
Stories are not, storytelling is not pie. There's not a limited amount of pie that you get. We can tell as many stories as we want to, and there needs to be stories out there, and I want to see those different voices, and I want to see people, people connect in such interesting ways with stuff. The only way that we're going to grow this industry, the medium of comics, is to understand that, to further understand that comics are an industry, a medium, not a genre.
Yep.
Yeah.
People are like, oh, I was at an event on Friday. It was a wine share, and everybody gets together in town. Everybody brings a bottle of wine, and we all have a drink and chat about things. And
that sounds awesome.
I met some people. Yeah, it's pretty great. I wish that they would do a share, but that might be a little tougher, faster. But we were talking about stuff, and somebody that I did not know, and they didn't know me, and what I do. We were talking about comics, and they were like, oh yeah, like the superheroes. And I was like, that's not really.
I cringe.
I mean, and I love super.
Yes.
If you if you want to have the conversation deep diving about Batman's rogues gallery, do that.
Yeah. Right.
Fine.
Yeah.
But it was almost an unintentional dismissive based around this, and it was funny then starting to talk about, this comes from a comic. This comes, this TV show that you enjoy. How many people? The Boys you just talked about earlier.
Yeah.
Half the people that are watching that don't know that comes from a comic.
Yep.
But that's. So I think that the understanding that that we can tell any kind of story, and that we should tell any kind of story, and I want, and I think that as we move along too, I think that certain people look at things and say, I don't like that kind of story, or I don't like, that's not me, so why does that exist? Dude.
Yeah.
Right.
Let's be honest. There's a lot of stuff out there that I don't care about, or I don't care for. There are art styles that do not do it for me in the least. There are subject matters that I'm like, I don't know, I don't like comics about fish. So
right.
Aquaman's probably not my jam.
How dare you, sir?
I know. I'm the worst. I am literally the worst.
Comics about turtles, though.
I am literally the worst.
Fuck yeah.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Not to yuck your yum. That's right. I don't know. I really feel like we need to lift up those voices, and we need more stories. And if digitally, if the key digital comics, I will say this. I know a lot of people doing web comics that make more money than I.
I'm sorry.
Really?
What was that?
Yeah.
It cut out. I didn't hear. What now?
I know a few people that make web comics that make more money than I ever would doing week.
What?
Wow.
Yeah. That's
how much. See, shows you how much I know.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Yeah. Yeah. And you know what? Good for them.
Good
for them finding it.
Got it.
Good for them finding. I love. You get people and they're like, oh, this webcomic kids, and you're like, look at that
Yeah.
again because there's some
Yep.
damn good storytelling and with huge audience. And it's not just it's not just some dismissive thing that you need to do. It's there. Yeah, there's a lot out there. So I think there's.
I was gonna say I figure it has to be like being consistent, always like on a schedule type of deal, and having a certain kind of crowd or audience or whatever that you cater to, and like once they love it and appreciate it, it's just going to build up from there.
Yeah, well, and if you're making good content and telling a good story, I mean, medium's almost second fiddle.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, I as a traditional comics guy, I mean, who spent a big chunk of his career working for DC, drawing Batwoman and Constantine and various that. I am doing right now, top of my creator own work. I'm doing comics and cocktails, right? I'm doing a recipe comic book. It's basically what that like it's about drinks. I don't know that is something that ever could have existed. 20 years ago.
Yeah.
I mean, and the fact that if you go onto my Patreon right now, you can get on there. You can support it.
What's that Patreon? Plug it in right quick.
Yeah.
It's just Jeremy Haun. You can look me up on Patreon under Jeremy. My name JeremyHaun.
Boom.
But and that'll take you to my page, and it's just about comics and cocktails. So you get on there, you drop $5 a month, and you get every other week I do a recipe comic. So the first one was an old fashioned. So I showed you how to make an old fashioned. My old fashioned, my favorite way to do it. And then last week was a gin and tonic. I said before this upcoming week is going to be a highball. It's an easy way to go in and get the exact kind of content and that basically it's for $2.50 you get a comics recipe, and the great thing is at the end of a year I'm going to take 20 of these and I'm going to make a nice little hardcover book.
Done. Good thinking.
And so you know what, maybe you're not the kind of person that likes the idea of digital comics, of something that you're going to look at on Patreon. You're like, I'm not. That's just not for me. I would never open it, or whatever it is. That's fine. And at the end, I'm going to repackage this thing, and I'm going to make a nice, cool little recipe book.
Yeah.
And I like that. I think that's a lot of fun. Probably be like 100 pages or something like that. And I might, if this works and if people really dig it, I'm gonna do it too, and I'm gonna keep going.
Yep.
Just because it's fun, and I never get tired of making.
Yeah, it's like you said, it's a very good side hustle. That's good product placement, good thinking.
Yeah, I mean, shit.
I'm just hoping soon that I get those sweet endorsement deals.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
So Hendrick's Gin, let's talk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hendrick's Gin, Deschutes, Saint Germain. Yeah.
Yep. Exactly. Yeah. The ones that I really hope like.
What would be your dream?
Lagavulin, like the good peaty scotch that's like $100 a bottle.
Yeah.
That's the stuff. But one can dream.
Right. Yeah. Oh, very cool. So I noticed on your, like you said, the first one was a, excuse me, an old fashioned, and then you did the gin and tonic. Is there I like that you're sticking to kind of basic drinks, because like a lot of cocktail books I buy they're like, wow, look at this totally amazing 16 ingredient drink that like involving stuff that you can only get in, Paris and
Right.
some crazy place, but I like that your book is just like, nah, here's an old, or, your product is like, nah, here's an old fashioned, here's how to do it right, or how to do it my way. Yeah, I like that. Yeah, go.
I mean, I think basically what you're saying there is exactly how I feel about a lot of these books. When I live in Joplin, Missouri, so it's the literally the buckle of we it's a good town. It is. It's a good town. We have a couple of really decent liquor stores that are definitely trying and learning and growing as we go.
Yeah.
But it's. I mean, I think I walked in and I had asked for Luxardo cherry. The good brandied cherry.
Yeah.
Right? It's like $20 for a jar. And they're like, oh, you're the guy that gets the fancy cherries, I was like, they're cocktail cherry. You know? I was like, have you ever tried one? And I was so tempted to just like buy a jar and crack it open and have just go around to everybody there and taste one of these because but they the harder
so
ingredients. Oh, they're the best.
Yeah.
But there are a lot of ingredients that in these recipes you can't get if you live, in an average sized city. I even go to Kansas City, to get a lot of the stuff that because you'll have stuff and you're like, okay, well, I can get, I know that I can get a good bourbon in most cities. I know that I can get, you can get good scotch, gin, vodka, all these things. But like, while I will get into things that are, I do like the idea of having a book that is aimed at kind of the person that really likes making a drink, but look, I'm not gonna with comics and cocktails, I'm not gonna knock the socks off of a craft cocktail bartender that's been in the industry for 15 years.
Yeah,
right. Like they're gonna go, well, you did that wrong, and I'm like, okay, well, that's cool, but I
like it.
I research these things. I have made hundreds and hundreds of most of these drinks, especially the old fashioned. I probably on average make at least 2 or 3 a week for forever now. I've sharpened these processes, but there will be really involved drinks. I want to show people that like some of the things also that you think are really difficult, complex, kind of aren't. Like it's in some ways maybe I'm showing the sleight of hand, the magic. But like I want you to see that like most like a 3 ingredient drink can be absolutely amazing. Yeah. And if you use the right ingredients, and if you use fresh ingredients, it's damned good. I mean, I would like a margarita, right? Like a margarita, we've all had really, really shit margaritas. You go and you go to a place and you're like, oh, mostly mix and like the worst tequila that you ever had. Yeah. But like a margarita is literally good tequila, agave or simple syrup, lime juice, and triple sec, or an orange liqueur. Yeah. That's it. You know, you toss it together, you shake the hell out of it, you put it over some ice. You know, maybe some salt on that rim if you're feeling that way. You know, I mean, it's simple and it's clean and it's easy and it's not. You know, I love the idea that we can have those things and that I can that I can kind of show it and in the nerdiest sort of way.
Right. Of course. Yeah. Well, it's kind of interesting you say that because like I was actually talking with a friend of mine who owns a brewery earlier, and he was saying, sometimes it's fun to do these like very like crazy beers with all these different kinds of fruits and spices in them. He's like, but sometimes you just want to do like a basic beer and just do it really well. And that kind of reminded me of like I've done like gin and tonics. I'm like, sure, a gin and tonic with gin, tonic, and Rose's lime is perfectly fine. But like I've convinced some people to like take out the Rose's lime, just throw in a fresh wedge of an actual lime, and it like completely changes it. And it's a really simple change, and it's just like you said, it's simple, it's accessible, but it improves it 100%.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So, I think we've... you got anything else you want to talk about, Tyke or Jeremy? We talked about the end of the beauty, your digital comics, cocktails.
Just a fun conversation as always, man.
Yeah. I don't know. It's been an interesting year for me. I think that like I said, I'm getting ready to change some things up. We're going to be making some announcements soon.
Cool.
I encourage people to follow me on all the social medias to kind of get the lowdown on stuff. But
if someone didn't listen to the last episode, want to give out all your social media now?
Yeah. I mean, you can hit me up on Instagram, Twitter under Haun, Jahaun. You can find me on Facebook under Jeremy Haun. I don't do TikTok. I don't know what it is yet, but
that's okay.
But my kids do. And definitely please check out Patreon. Comics and cocktails. It's just under my name, Jeremy Haun.
Patreon. Just search Jeremy Haun. Yep.
Yeah. Check that out because I think that we're doing some fun stuff there. I just started with. Like I'm only 2 in right now, but I also have started a thing I'm calling the pairing, which is basically I'll do the drink and then the next week I read a comic, and have that cocktail while I'm actually reading the comic.
Okay.
And I talk, so like the first one, Sixth Gun by Cullen Bunn and Robert.
Okay.
And I was like, this pairs well with an old fashioned. So
that's awesome. I love that.
Yeah,
that's great.
Yeah. I'm on Wednesday. I'm releasing for the gin and tonic. I was rereading Copra.
Say it again. What were you reading?
Copra.
Okay.
Copra. Yeah, Copra. I think it's Copra. But that's a lot of fun, and I don't know. I thought it would pair well. So,
that's really cool. I love that idea. Yeah.
Yeah, and I don't know. I love that you can kind of maybe I need to do like a White Night, White Russian.
Yeah. Right.
Like
yeah.
But I don't know. It's just fun stuff.
Yeah.
I think that if you like comics and you like cocktails, it's good for you.
Yep.
It's a good combination. Right, yeah. We got to get you out here sometime to do some distillery touring. That'd be fun.
Well, let's figure out how to make that happen because that sounds like all kinds of fun. But we'll maybe we can even do like some kind of distillery tour, some kind of event where we make some drinks together.
Yeah, definitely, man.
Hell yeah.
Definitely. Yeah, I'm down.
All right. Excellent.
Cool. All right, man. Well, excuse me. God, I'm still trying to get over a cough from a cold. I'm sorry about that.
Yeah. Please get better.
Yeah. Well, thank you. So I think this is probably a good spot to end it. Thanks again, man, for being on the show. It's a pleasure, as always.
Always, yeah.
Everyone, if you like the show, please consider subscribing. We're on What are we on? Spotify, Google Play, and YouTube now?
Yes, sir. All three of those, yep.
Yeah, and I guess that's our show for August 4th. I don't know when this is going to come out, because we already recorded a show for this week. So I guess maybe next Monday, or maybe we'll do 2 shows this week. I don't know. We'll see. But, no. Thanks again, Jeremy. It's been awesome, as always. Really appreciate it.
Yeah,
And,
thank you so much.
Yeah, thanks, fellas.
I guess good night, everyone.
Peace.
Great talking to you.
Yep.